got
Hey,
Ev-
Zach.
Venice. Venice, got Evgene. Is that right? Evgene? Nice. We got Willem. Nice. Where are you guys calling in from? Drop in the chat. Just let me know where you guys are tuning in from. Vancouver. Very cool. Abu Dhabi. Nice. And I can see some of you. If you guys can go cameras on too, it makes it a lot more interactive because then I can actually see kind of what's landing and get a lot more connection. What's up, Tyler? Nice. All right, we'll give people just another moment to roll in here, but I'm going to kick off here. So day one, we're going to kick off here with just some pretty fundamental stuff that's going to change the way that, okay. Yeah, all good, Tyler. So what are some of your, real quick, before we get started, what are some of your intentions? Like, what do you want to get out of this training? Like you could be doing anything, you could be anywhere. What do you want to get out of this training that would make this just a total win for you guys? New people and adapt accordingly. Awesome. I'll show you some cool. Yep. Cool. Yeah, we're gonna get into that. We'll definitely. You're gonna see. It's like lifting up the hood and being able to see underneath what's driving somebody. And you'll know them better. You'll know things about them that they won't even know about themselves. So, what else? What else are you going to get out of this? Awesome. All right,
For me,
Robbie.
there's a number one thing is just read behavior, understanding people where they are coming from, and I guess that is one of the biggest thing in active listening, being able to read the room, not just what would been said, but what is the meaning of what being said.
Okay, got it. Yeah, so not just hear the words that they say, but what are they really saying? What are they actually?
Exactly.
Cool. Okay, awesome. You're gonna love day three. Day three is gonna like blow that wide open. So understand people during the conversation. Exactly. So cool. So we'll get started. If people trickle in and join, then they come in. So day one is all about, I want to show you the foundation underneath everything. Because a lot of people, they play with the name mind controller, and a lot of people want to be able to have this level of influence and persuasion. But there's a few things that get in the way. So today we're going to address the most common mistakes and the biggest things that I see that kill your influence, kill your authority, and are really getting in the way. And then I'm going to give you guys every day. There's going to be I hate the word homework because I never did my homework in school, but there's going to be an assignment that's going to give you something to do. And the cool thing is you don't have to go do extra work. What's up, Michael? Got
What's going
Michael.
on?
Yes. We got Ross coming in. What's up, guys? Cool. So everybody, we don't get into like the tactical stuff, which is cool, but if we're going to build a house, or if you want to build this like really beautiful master bedroom in a house that's really, really well designed, got to lay down a good foundation for it first. So today we're going to go over the three biggest mistakes that I see that kill people's influence and authority. And this will make you, if you don't fix these will make you blind. These will literally make you blind to, I know some of you guys are saying you want to be able to read and adapt and understand people. If you don't fix these things, you're literally flying blind and you won't be able to read and adapt. So does that sound good to you guys? Does that sound helpful? Okay, awesome. And then as part of the structure of this, it's going to be, I'm going to give you things to do, things to practice. And the cool thing is you don't have to go do extra work or anything like that. You literally just practice them in your day to day, and it'll start changing the way you see people. So first things, and I don't like to do death by PowerPoint. Like sometimes you see presentations where there's like 1,000 slides. I like to actually be a little more interactive. So if you ever see me live, I like to draw things. But like I said, I like this training to be interactive and engaging. So here's what's going on. So first of all, how long do you think you have before somebody makes a judgment of you? How many words come out of your mouth before somebody decides whether or not they're going to listen to you?
I would say
Zero,
5.
Michael's. Yeah, I think Michael's saying zero. I think Michael's. Yeah, um, Michael nailed it. Right. People are if you get words out, it's about 5 to 7 words, which is about all the brain processes. Right. So people are making very snap, very quick, unconscious decisions about whether or not to even listen to you, and it's not conscious. They don't know they're doing it, and it's not in their awareness. Right? So here's the three factors of when it comes down to influence, when it comes down to reading people and persuasion. I like to draw triangles. So up top, this is what everybody wants. Everybody wants what to say, right? Everybody wants, you go online, everybody wants the script, right? What's the magic script? What's the secret three-letter, the secret 3 words that will make somebody buy or make anybody do anything, right? And everyone wants the script because the script is easy, it's sexy. Here's just the magic words to say. But the script it's the tip of the iceberg. Right? Below this is, rather than what you say, is what you do. So the words, and this is where if the words, if somebody says that they love you, but they're punching you in the face at the same time, what they do is carry more weight than what they say, right? If you have somebody and everybody here is in some sort of sales, right? Whether it's for your own business, whether it's for a company, right? Everybody here does some sort of sales and influence. So if you've ever talked to somebody that they say they're going to do it, they say they're going to move forward, they say they're going to do something, but they don't do it, you listen to what they do rather than what they say. So what someone does is more important than that. But down here at the bottom, this is the most important part, is who you are. And this is where the things that you're doing off camera, the things that you're doing in your regular everyday life are showing up in what you're doing. And it shows up as confidence. It shows up as unconscious signals that the brain is getting. So we're going to go more into all these. I'm going to literally teach you guys more about this. I'm going to give you guys the what to say, be more like day 3. Today, I really want to focus on this foundational piece of who you are, because if you have all the right scripts and all the right knows what to do, is anybody here, by the way, knowing what to do but just did not done it? Yeah, yeah. I know what to do, but I'm just not doing it. Right? Really, really common. So where that comes from, and that shows up. And if you've ever met somebody that's like faking it, or you can tell maybe their words aren't aligned with who they actually are, we can tell, and it's off-putting. So these are the 3. So keep this in the back of your mind, because everything's gonna come back and layer into all 3 of these. Thank you for drawing on the pyramid, whoever that was.
All right.
All right, good. All right, so here's the 3. Here's the top 3 reasons why you're being ignored, or at least not getting the level of influence that you want. All right. Number 1 is information overload. Has anybody ever had somebody just start talking a bunch of technical gibberish to them? Here's a bunch of facts, here's a bunch of numbers, they're saying a bunch of stuff. They call it information overload. And what you're really doing is you're really turning off the decision-making part of that person's brain. You're sitting there trying to use a bunch of facts and logic to have them make an emotional decision to try to change the way that they feel. And if you've ever heard the phrase, we buy with emotion, but justify with logic, who's heard that phrase? Okay, some of us. Cool. So that's what this is. If you're trying to use logic, you're talking to the wrong part of the brain, and the person's going to get confused and they tuned out. So information overload. And I see this a lot in tech sales. I work with a lot of SaaS companies, tech companies. Guys love to know, they know their stuff. They love to show you how much they know, but that's not what actually convinces somebody. That's not what actually moves the needle. So the next one is reactive positioning. What does that mean? Reactive positioning means that you're trying to convince the person, diary of the mouth. Yeah, exactly, Michael. So reactive positioning means you're trying to convince the person, right? It means I'm sitting there trying to explain to them why they should do it. you ever have somebody say, well, why should I work with you? Or tell me, why should I do it? Right? You're reacting to them. And now you're qualifying to them. You're explaining to them why they should do something. And if you have to convince somebody, right, if I have to sit there and I have to convince somebody to do something, what's the underlying implication? What does that mean? That means that if I have to convince somebody, that means they don't want to do it. So whether or not they're saying that or not, if I'm saying they're trying to convince the person to do something, and I'm reactive to that, the underlying frame of the entire interaction, or what can be assumed about the interaction, is that they don't want to do it. And if I had to work so hard to convince them why they should do it, then it must not be that good. So I'm going to teach you guys on day 4. We're going to go into how to actually build a frame and how to build positioning that gets them in your frame, that gets them qualifying to you as opposed to the other way around. So really, really powerful stuff. And then the last one is your blind spots. Now, what are blind spots? Blind spots are inherently the things that we don't see that are causing us to lose confidence, lose authority. Now, there's complex models for this and simple models for this, but another way of saying this is there's behaviors that we're doing, both conscious and unconscious, that are signaling to somebody else whether or not they should listen to us. And usually we don't know what they are because we're not taught this. This is something that I spent 14 years military experience and at least $100,000 learning all this stuff. I've never totaled it, but I spent a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of experience learning all this in order to pull these pieces out. So the blind spots are going to be things like your habits. And I'm not talking about getting up early and going to the gym. I'm talking about the way you manage your life, way you manage your time, your social skills, your environment. It's the way you actually physically present yourself to the world, because I'm creating perceptions from that. And it's my internal traits, my internal confidence, my internal connection. So we'll go more into all these. I'm going to give you guys um, like a checklist for this. I'm going to give you guys actually things to do with this. So these are reasons why you're being ignored. So what do we do about this instead? So instead of overloading people with information, we want to overload them through transformation, called emotional transformation. So instead of just giving somebody a bunch of information, I need to give somebody an emotional transformation. I need to change the way that they feel. I need to change the way that they see it. I need to literally get through to the decision-making part of their brain. I need to get through the part of their brain that actually makes decisions and feels, as opposed to just as thinking logically. Yeah, build trust. Yep. I'll show you more about how we do that. So instead of sitting there with information overload, I want you to think, what is this person's emotion? What does this person need? Where are they? And I'm going to give you guys the assignment I'm going to give you guys to do today is going to be specifically about this. And the cool thing is you can literally just do it in the interactions you're having day to day. What's up, Justin? And there's the cool thing about this stuff is all this stuff, you're already doing it. We just need to change the way that you're doing a couple of things. And you're interacting with people every day. You're seeing people. So the cool thing is this isn't that hard to change. We just need to know what we're doing. So emotional transformation, instead of reactive positioning, you want to have frame-based positioning. In other words, I want to have a frame. Now, what is a frame? A frame is literally the lens at which we're viewing the interaction through. You're all seeing me through a frame that controls the perception. Now we can all agree. Now, if I were to change the frame, move it over there, now we've got a different reality. Right? You don't know where I am. You can't see me. So and I'll teach you guys more about how to build a frame that actually is effective. And when you understand frames, which we're going to do more frames tomorrow. frames literally do all the heavy lifting of an interaction. When you have a good frame, it does all the work for you. So you don't need to sit there and convince somebody of doing it because the frame does the work for you. All right, really, really important. The frame is very, very powerful. All right, and the last is blind spots. We want to replace our blind spots with awareness and monitoring. So in other words, we've got these things that we're doing, these habits, these behaviors, these unconscious things that we're doing that are unconsciously signaling to other people that they should either listen to us or not. And how do you fix a blind spot? First, you know it's there, right? When you're driving a car, our cars have blind spots, right? What do you do? How do you, um, before you move over, how do you make sure that there's nothing in your blind spot and you don't get in a car accident? You look, you literally just bring awareness. You say, great, there's nobody there. And then I move over. And then I monitor it as I'm moving over. I make sure that nobody's going to be in that spot that I can't see. So I give you a framework to notice your blind spots and to be able to fix them. And there's no anybody out there that tells you that you need some complicated personal development 25-step plan is just overcomplicating it. The way you fix your blind spots is by knowing that they're there and then just monitoring them. And your brain will do a head check. Yeah, exactly. I've never heard that phrase, but I like that. Head check. That's fun. Um, yeah, you don't need some complicated plan to know your blind spots. All you have to do is just know that they're there and then just keep an eye on them and your brain will self-correct it. A lot of this stuff is actually simpler than a lot of people make it out to be. So that's been um, my whole quest. And I'm not just not going to go super deep into my backstory or anything on this, just because I want to keep this content focused. But pretty much my entire life, my entire career, has been this quest for how do I learn about the brain? How do I take complex ideas and systems and how do I make them simple and easy and understandable? So that's really my idea. So these are the top three things. If you fix these three things, you will have more influence and more persuasion than 99% of people out there. If you can understand someone's emotions, in other words, where are they and where do they need to be? If I can hold a good frame, and then if I can just be aware of my blind spots, you will literally fly circles around 99% of people in the world. Because most people don't do this. Most people are focused on what do I say? What's the script? What's the magic line to handle any objection? Right? Um, this handles all of that. Now, last thing to I'll say on objections, because I know a lot of people wanted that. I'm not going to go straight into objection handling. I'll talk about it on the last day, but this is not here's the line, here's the script for it. So here's my challenge. My challenge within a challenge to you guys is everybody here. Objections are kind of the bane of sales, so to speak. Right? A lot of people want help with that. A lot of people want how do I overcome objections? How do I do that? I challenge you by the end, and we'll talk about this on the last day, on day 5, and I'll show you how to put all this together so that you can actually eliminate objections before they come up. Because if you're handling objections, if you're battling somebody, you're already in a losing frame, right? Kind of going back to number 2. If somebody is saying that they don't do something and I'm not trying to convince them to do it, I'm trying to persuade them, I've actually already made mistakes way, way earlier. So my challenge to you guys, and I'll show you how to put it together on day 5, but my challenge to you guys is think about in the back of your mind as we're going through all this, start thinking about how do I use this to prevent objections rather than handle them. And I found this, I always thought you had, because you hear this in sales, right? You always hear everybody, you have to get good objection handling. But I don't really get objections these days. The only thing that I get really is I have to sometimes it's just the logistics of figuring out the money with somebody. That's really it. And the reasons why are one, I'm taking the person on a journey ahead of time. I'm also making sure that they're qualified. And that doesn't just mean that they have the ability to pay. It also means that they have the ability to get the result. Because if somebody can't get the result, then I don't want to bring them in, right? I don't want to waste their time. I don't want to bring in a bad client. So I'll show you guys how to put this all together. And on day 5, I'll take you through my actual sales framework and I'll show you how all this actually looks in a live environment. And I'll show you how we put all this together so that somebody actually, it's feeling like they got sold. They feel like they made a decision and they are very lucky. They feel very happy. They feel grateful and they're very excited about it. Right. Does that sound helpful for you guys? All right. Awesome. So this is the kind of the big picture. So what I want to talk about right now is information versus transformation. Trust. They trust you and they will never have to sell. So it's exactly. If they trust you, and that's a huge, right? Trust is huge. Now the big parts of trust are these all go into trust, right? If you are talking to somebody and they know the right words to say, right? They know what to say, and maybe they even know what to do robotically. You can tell something's off about this person. Anybody else experience that where somebody knows all the words to say, but something about them seems off? Yeah. So that's this number three. That's this who they are. That's their blind spots leaking out. Something inside of us, we don't know what it is, but something deep gut feeling says something's off with this person, and that's killing trust. So we'll get more into that, and I'll give you, like I said, I'll give you guys a an actual usable thing that'll literally change your brain chemistry around this. And this, but today I want to talk about this first one, which is emotional transformation. So the thing to know with this is nobody buys anything logically. Nobody buys based on facts. Nobody here has ever spent money on something just because of the facts, the numbers, and the data. It might have helped support it for some people, but for people like some people like me, I don't really care about the facts. I just care, does it work? And how fast can we do it? I know everyone's going to have different parts. And on tomorrow, we're going to go more into the behavior profiling side of it. And I'm going to show you guys there's how to pretty quickly do a conversation, see what's driving somebody at their deepest possible levels. Like, what do they really, really want and need? And what are their greatest fears? And I'm going to show you how to use that ethically so that you can get influence, get trust. And when you see this formula that we're going to go through tomorrow, it's not even a formula, it's just a framework for it. Every single person you ever meet will fall into one of these four categories. And when you know this stuff that we're going to go over, you'll know them better than they know themselves. You'll understand their deepest, darkest fears. You'll understand what they really want. You'll understand their motivations, their drivers, and then you'll have a different level um, of influence with them. But I want to keep today focused on this piece about you because this is the most important part. I can teach you the profile, I can teach you I can give you all the cool stuff. But if your personal, if you're not dialed in, none of the rest of it works. Right? If we build this pyramid on like a cracked foundation, then it doesn't matter. So the biggest thing that's going to make the biggest difference that I found is getting out of, does anybody here find themselves in your own head? Sometimes in conversations? Yeah. Two hands up. Cool. So the biggest thing that we can do that makes one of the biggest differences is getting out of your head and getting into theirs. So what does that actually mean? That means instead of sitting there worried about how I'm being perceived or worrying about what I'm going to say next, I'll totally for Tyler, yeah, all the time. Yeah, this is normal, by the way, guys. Everything we're talking about is very normal, very common, and is also very fixable. So the thing I want you to, so let's start tying this together. So getting out of your head and getting into theirs. How to do this? You do this by, and this is how we also fix number one. So emotional transformation. So what does this really mean? This means that I've got a person here. This is a terrible line, but all right. So this is our person, and this person is feeling some kind of way. This person's going through something. They're feeling a certain way. They're in some emotional state that is controlling how they feel and how they see the world. Right? Literally control how they, your emotional state is controlling how you see the entire world. Now, here's what makes up an emotional state. This is the triangle. So like triangles. So got the focus. In other words, this is the picture in their brain. Everyone's always got a focus. Everyone's always got a picture of something, whether it's positive or negative. When you're talking to somebody, they see themselves having success with what you're selling, or they see you being full of shit and taking their money and getting screwed over, kind of like the last guy did. Right? They see a picture in their head, though. There's something. The next one down here is their physiology. In other words, their body. So this is sleep, hydration, sunshine, exercise, food, nutrition, all the things that are physically going on, whether someone's standing up or sitting down. And then lastly, over here, we've got their self-talk. This is the words going through their head. So the focus is the picture in the head. The self-talk is the words that are narrating how they're seeing the world, how they're seeing the interaction. It's also the meaning that we're giving it. Right. So everyone here, right, you've got a picture in your head. Now, if you're looking at a screen, the picture is probably similar to what you're looking at a lot of times. But if you're, if you're spacing off, or you might start to just change that picture. And when you change the picture, you'll change the feeling. Self-talk is going to be, what's the implication of this? Hopefully everyone here is like, this is really interesting. It's cool. Maybe some of you guys are like, Zach's full of shit. You never know, but hopefully the first one. But so that's the self-talk, right? And so it's basically when you're talking to somebody, there's what they're saying out loud and there's what they're actually thinking inside. And you've got to understand what they're actually thinking inside, because again, what they say is very surface level, is usually full of shit. So I want to know what's really going on. So then last one, physiology. This one's a little harder to tell over camera, but also, can I look at somebody and can I kind of just tell, does somebody eat healthy? Does somebody drink water? Is somebody well rested? Is somebody standing up or sitting down? So there's clues that I can still get from all this. And so all of this, all these put together, make up the person's emotional state. Now, why does this matter so much? So the emotional state matters because if someone is, the way someone feels will literally impact their entire, everything they do. If somebody, and this is where in sales, I have a very strong disagreement with a lot of traditional sales trainers, is a lot of people think you need to really do pain-based selling. I need to make the person feel like shit so that they buy. Anybody heard that one before? Some version of that? Yeah, make them feel pain. I think that's a terrible strategy because, first of all, I don't want somebody making a decision because, first of all, if you ever get people with buyer's remorse, that's usually where you'll get it, is they feel manipulated because you said they made them cry on the phone and took advantage of them in an emotional, vulnerable state. That's usually where you'll get that type of buyer's remorse. I don't like it. I also don't want somebody feeling like shit and associating working with me with them feeling like shit. Right? If they're feeling really, really bad, I don't want that feeling with me. So when I sell everything I do, touch on it. I want to know what the problem is, but everything is focused on what do they want. Right. So if I've got somebody that's excited for their goals and excited for what they're going to get, that's a way, way, way better state to be in than somebody that's feeling bad and pain and scared. Right. Because I also want them feeling confident. I want them feeling optimistic. Because if you're offering a real transformation, which, and I'll learn more about what you guys do this week as well. If you're offering somebody a real transformation, you want them to feel excited about it. Right. I don't want them coming and feeling when they're scared and contracting in pain. I want someone feeling good. Right? I want someone feeling confident. If someone feels good and they're confident and they feel like they're going to get a result, if they feel like they're going to get what they want by working with me, of course they're going to do it. And if we've, through positioning, if we've done these other pieces correctly, we can get them to justify pretty much any price that solves their problem if we do this right. So I'll show you guys more on how to do that. So today, for your homework today, I'll let you guys go. What I want you guys to do today is, if you don't have this, get a screenshot of this, write it down on a piece of paper, put this somewhere physically in your space where you're looking at it all day. And when you're talking to people, I want you to imagine, or you can even ask, right? And so I'll do this on calls. If I'm talking to somebody and I see them look off into the distance, I'll say, hey, what are you looking at? What do you see? What's the picture you're seeing in your head right now? Right. If I'm talking to somebody about their problem, if you ever had somebody and you like try to get them to talk about their problem and they just say a bunch of nothing, they just talk for 2 minutes. You're like, I don't know what you just said. You just said a bunch of words that make no sense. Any of us talk to that person? Did that one? Yeah. So sometimes I'll ask people, I'll be like, hey, I don't exactly know what you're saying. What's the picture? What do you see in your head? And then they're going to say, oh, I see my wife getting mad at me, and I see my business collapsing, and I see myself being homeless on the street. Cool. I asked them what they see, and now they just told me what they see. I know that their emotional state is fear. So now I also know that I need to get them to a state of hope and confidence and optimism. So what I want you guys to do today is practice anybody you're talking to, and you can also practice this with yourself. because the cool thing about this tool is this doesn't only change and let you see how other people are seeing the world, but it lets you change your own emotional state. So if I'm going to get on a call, I'm going to make sure the picture in my head is what I want. I'm going to make sure my self-talk is empowering. I'm going to make sure my physiology is dialed. I'm going to make sure I'm hydrated, rested, all those things, because then I'm going to feel in a better state. Right? Before I got on this call, I literally, I've got a team member, Velko is a team member, right? We were on here. We were talking and it took the last few minutes. I literally just pictured this going well in my head. I imagined it going well. I told myself that, you know, and to be honest with you guys, this is my first challenge. I've never done one of these like this before. So I appreciate you guys all showing up and taking the time to come out because I know there's a lot of things you could be doing. Made a lot of tech errors, a bunch of mistakes, but I didn't let any of that bring me down before this. All I did is I said to myself, you know what? We did it. We're learning. And even if one person shows up, I'm still going to deliver the best possible thing that I can do, even just for one person that shows up. Right. And that put me in a really good state, even though it's still somewhat early and I haven't had coffee yet because I'm out of my own normal time zone. It doesn't matter. Like this. And if you guys have noticed, my energy's gotten higher as I go through this call because I see your faces, I see you guys. So, what I want you guys to do is be aware of your own emotional state because it transfers to other people, and then be aware of other people's states. So, assignment for today: literally just physically put this triangle in your face where you're looking at it, and then monitor how am I feeling, right? What is the picture in my head? What's my self-talk? What is my physiology? And then when you're talking to anybody, I want you to really, I'm trying to understand what is this for them. But if you were to just do one, get the picture in their head. That's the easiest to see sometimes, at least, especially when you're learning this, it's the easiest to see because you can just ask people like, what are you imagining or what do you see happening? And here's how baked into our language this is, right? You ever see somebody say, yeah, I just don't see how that's possible? You ever hear somebody say that? They're literally telling you the picture in their head, they don't see it happening. They're telling you they're telling you what they see. It's so woven into our language, we just take this for granted. And it's like, I don't see that happening. Or I see what you mean. I see what you're talking about. It means they literally see a picture in their head of what you're talking about. And the cool thing is, nice. Like, I love your energy, Michael. All of you guys, everybody who's really engaged. And I appreciate you guys. That's why I like cameras on too, because I can see I can see the light bulbs going, which is fun for me. It lets me know which parts are landing. So, and here's why I like the picture in the head, because this is gonna be a huge tool. By the way, guys, don't sleep on this. This looks simple. This maybe looks basic. Everything over these 5 days is going to build. And this is the foundation of everything else. And this picture in your head is going to be actually one of the biggest tools, one of the biggest tools for influence and persuasion. And you'll see this somebody that's good at this can actually paint that picture for other people. So if I say, for example, if I tell you to imagine a purple giraffe riding a skateboard eating a banana, everybody just, I see some eyes going up. I see some searching, but I just planted a picture in your head fully without your consent, but I just did it. And that's how powerful this is. You can plant a picture in somebody's head literally just by describing it. As a fun, we're not going to get into politics here because it's way too heated, but if you wanted to do like a bonus assignment or just to see this in action, go watch a really persuasive or influential speaker or political candidate, whoever you want to listen to. They're going to be really good at this. They're going to paint a picture in your head and you'll see imagery. They'll talk about things that are happening. You'll literally see pictures. And the ones that are good at manipulation will paint pictures of scary things happening. And they'll literally tell you all these scary things are happening. You'll see all these horrific things happening and you'll drop down into a state of fear because now they've controlled your emotional state. And then your self-talk is going to be, things are dangerous. I need to, blah, blah, blah. And now that you've dropped down, you're in a state of fear, you're more suggestible, you're way more open, way more susceptible to influence, right? This is how a lot of people do influence is fear-based. I don't like fear-based because I don't want to work with people in fear. Those are not my people. My whole thing is I want to get people out of fear, just on a more personal note. Literally describe to me, yes. You want to know how the media works? By the way, do you want to know how advertising works? I'm going to break advertising for you forever. They teach you, so the news will talk about a story. There's a really scary thing happening, and it's probably happening in your neighborhood. It's probably happening to your kids. right? Really, really scary pictures and images. And then they'll cut to a commercial break and they'll ask you to buy some shit. You're primed for it. It's a very good business model. Yes, the media. That might get you in one sec. So yeah, the media is really good at this. They have a business model. They very much know what they're doing. You'll see this systemically, guys. And what I want you, again, I'm going to teach you how to use this to make more money for yourselves, to make more sales, to help people, to use this ethically. But this works in, like, this helps with your relationships, and this will also help you give you some defenses. Feel like, I don't know if I'm any, like, top of Harry Potter nerd crew. I'm definitely, like the defense against the dark arts, if anybody's into those, right? It's going to give you defense because people are using this all the time. And if you don't think, here's the last note I'll leave you on, and I'll get any questions. People are using this all the time, right? I didn't invent any of this out of thin air. I've just tried to simplify what has been made very complicated. People are doing this all the time. And if you think you're not susceptible to this, you're extra susceptible. It's like if I have a computer and I'm like, oh no, I don't need virus protection software because I can't get viruses. Well, congratulations. You just got more, you have a blind spot, right? You have a blind spot. And just because you think you're not susceptible doesn't make it true. So if you're not actively aware of these things going on, it's happening passively. So another thing that I want to give you guys, just as a side bonus from this, is it'll help you protect you against other people that are doing this. Right? It'll help you see it happening. And then when you see it happening in the world, it becomes amusing. You're like, oh, I see what they're doing there. Right? I find the political stuff funny. Again, regardless of what side you sit on. I find a lot of the political stuff very amusing because if you see it very, very differently, and you see it as a little bit of a different game, which again helps my emotional state stay better because politics can also be something that wrecks people's emotional state and puts people in a bad mood. So wrap up. I know this was a lot, and I'm going to send out a recording after this because I think not everybody got the invite. And if you guys want to go back through this content again, this is yeah, I'll probably turn this into a mini course as well at some point, just because this is doing my good stuff. But just to reiterate for today, so key takeaways: who you are is the most important. What you do matters next, and what you say is actually the least important. You're being ignored because you're either overloading people with information and facts and data. You're reactive, and they see themselves below you, or excuse me, they see you as below them because you're trying hard to convince them. And you've got blind spots. You're leaking confidence. You're leaking authority, and it's happening subconsciously, and their brain is subconsciously picking up on those leaks. And instead, we're going to focus on emotional transformation, building a strong frame, which we'll do tomorrow, and then awareness and monitoring, which we'll get into towards the end of the week. The big thing I want you guys to focus on right now is emotional transformation. And right now, I just want you to see it. So I want you to imagine that while you're going through this, while you're talking on your calls today, while you're meeting people, while you're talking to, whether it's people on work, whether it's your family member, your wife, your kids, a random person at the grocery store, everybody's got this going on all the time. So I want you to now start to understand what's going on in their head. What is this person's emotional state? How is this person feeling right now? Just based on you don't need some complicated, body language reading system. You just kind of look at the person and how do they look? Our brains are actually really good at picking up on emotions if you pay attention to them. So how's this person feeling? This person feeling good, bad, confident, anxious, relaxed, scared? I'm looking for that, and I want to understand what is this person feeling. Because if I can do this, if I can start to see what happens, I'm going to give you guys a preview. I'll just quick preview of where we're going. If I can understand this, where this person is right now, and then let's say up here, we'll call this a buying state. So here's where they are now, and here's where I want them to be. If I can know where they are now, and I know what this looks like, I know what they need to see in their head, I know the self-talk, I know the physiology, if I know what they need to be in to be a buying state, to move forward, and not just make a decision like they're interested, but actually be super excited, right? Actually go above and beyond to, like, I've had people literally do crazy things like move mountains to, like, find ways to come up with the money or to find ways to do that. And it's not because I manipulated them and twisted them into it. It's because they wanted it so badly that they are doing it on their own accord. And they feel like it's their idea because it is, because I guided them. Right? But the big thing is I'm not in the business of convincing people to do things they don't want to do. I'm in the business of helping people make decisions that they already want to make, that maybe they just don't feel confident to make, or maybe they just need some permission to do it. So if I know where they are right now and I know where they need to be, now I literally can have a blueprint. I know exactly what to do and what to say to get them where I want them to be and to get them where they need to be. Again, with the caveat, and I'm sure everybody here is because I don't really attract unethical people. All this is with the caveat that you're good at what you do and you can actually fulfill and deliver, and you have the skill set to actually get people a result. Right? I know that's everybody here because I've had conversations with a lot of you. And like I said, I don't tend to attract people who are scammers or full of shit. So that being said, what questions do we have? I know Michael, I saw your hand pop up.
I was just saying, like, commercials. Like, I've never seen a commercial that makes me want to go buy something. Like, I see Pepsi,
No.
it ain't gonna make me want to go buy Pepsi, you know? Or if nowadays they do like the commercial back to back, it's like it drives me nuts. It makes me not want to buy shit.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Right. So they've given you you're also probably not the target market for that. Sure. I'm looking at you. You don't look like you drink a lot of Pepsi.
Anything. This commercials drive me freaking nuts. Especially, I don't know if you ever seen a new Roku commercial where they're screaming on it.
I
I
have
don't know
not
what it's
seen
got
that
to do
one.
with TV, but
I haven't seen that one. The new place where you'll see commercials, by the way, guys, is commercials are becoming less like commercials and they're becoming more like organic. You you'll see somebody post an organic video talking about this new thing that they like. Right. So they've gotten a little more sneaky with commercials. Because of exactly that, right? People are kind of distrusting of the media, distrusting of commercials. People don't like all that. So good stuff. All right. Any other
you
questions
were saying
about
watch what you about how you say things. I'd watch what you say around anything, any kind of electronics. Because if you say, "Oh, I don't get viruses," your Google's gonna be like, "Oh, really? Watch this."
yeah. Yep. Yeah. It's always listening for sure. So cool. Any other questions about what we talked about today?
I'm just looking forward to learn more how we can potentially help people to really move from emotional state to their buying state, and I think that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, dude. Definitely. It's easy. I'm gonna show you. It's gonna be when you see how simple this is, it's gonna be surprisingly simple. But you have to know this. You have to lay this foundational piece. But you have to so do this stuff today when you're talking to people. Um, just do your best, and this will take some practice about it. Right? Yeah. It's gonna get cool. I'm gonna teach you guys how we'll get into some we'll get into some cool stuff, but just understand it all builds. And it's like you've got to have the basics down. Right? You can't skip to the and to me, this is actually the good stuff. And when you see what you can do with this, um, this is one of the most powerful tools that I could give you. In fact, if I could just give you any one tool, it would actually be this triangle right here. Because when you really master this, and I mean really get it, I mean really like learn to just see what people are feeling and what they're seeing, it just gives you this. It's like seeing the matrix. You can just see things, and then when you layer this in with the decision making profiles that we'll go into, it's just you're going to see the world very, very differently. So today, just practice imagining what's the emotional state this person's in. What state are they in? What's the picture that they have in their head? What's their self-talk? And then what's their physiology? And just do your best. Through practice, you'll get better and better and better at this. And again, you can ask questions, right? Um, I'll give you an example of just something I overheard yesterday, right? I was at the grocery store grabbing some bone broth of all things. And there's some girl that was sitting there talking about how the healthcare system had failed her and Luigi Mangione was, a folk hero. Right? She was like really, really passionate about it. So I know right off that, I wasn't even like leaving. I was literally walking out of the store and I just happened to hear it as I walked by. Just from that one statement, what do I know about this girl? She's in a state of despair, some sort of down, low energy feeling. She has a picture in her head of being treated unfairly, unjustly, of being failed. Her self-talk is pretty shit, right? Because it wasn't like I'm going to go do this myself. She's saying it failed me, everything failed me. So she sees things as kind of being hopeless and inclusive. And her physiology, she was not out of shape, but not in shape, and a slouched posture, not a good, like just did not look like a healthy person. Right? You look at her and she does not look healthy. Right. So right away, I know in 5 seconds and just through hearing 2 sentences, I know a lot about this girl, like a lot. Right? Now, if I didn't have an intention, I didn't have an intent to move her into any other state. But if I did, I'd start to go and work on these things. Right. And I can tell you based on that, well, there's one more piece that I needed if I wanted to find out her buying motivations or her decision making motivations. There's one other piece of data that I needed, which we'll go into tomorrow. So, but I don't want to overwhelm you guys with stuff right now. So for today, just focus on this. Practice this. Don't let how simple this is fool you from how powerful it is. This is literally the blueprint to understanding somebody's mindset, somebody's emotional state, and moving them to anywhere. If I want to go to dinner, I want to take someone to dinner, and they don't want to go. They don't want to get sushi. I don't want to get tacos. I need to change these 3 variables. So is this making sense? All right. Awesome, guys. All right. Let you go. I know we're going a little bit long today. I'll try to keep it on time tomorrow, just the rest of the week. But yeah, go run with this. And then tomorrow when we come in, I want to hear what insights you guys had. Even if it was, holy shit, I never realized how in my head I was. Which, by the way, if you were in your head a lot, it means you're focused on you. You're not focused on the other person. So the side effect to this is it'll get you out of your head and it'll get you more focused on the other person, which is really what you need to be able to understand them. So, all right. Awesome, guys. Thank you everybody for coming out. Really appreciate you. I know there's a lot of things you could be doing today. So it means a lot that you decided to come here, and I'm excited to go through the rest of this with you guys. All right.
See you tomorrow.
See ya.